in PS.
Yes.
A grandfather and I were great friends.
A lot of platforms together. We've written for the same kind of newspapers, magazines, and things. And I'm a great admirer of her, of various aspects of her. I mean, she's like, one of those old kaleidoscopes which you put your eye, which we had in school, and you look through it, and there are so many colors, and each color is an aspect of Devika. I cannot sum up all that she does in such a short time. I'll have to speak for 45 minutes. So I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to her. The stars and planets have always been time testing tools for the ancient people around the world. They have also inspired unbridled imagination for interpretation and magical myth making. Sorry, I'm coming to. Yeah. The icon of Nataraja in arts, science, philosophy, and religion has been an inspiring theme beyond limits. Dr. Devika will explore by storytelling, aided by illustrations, the connection between all these aspects of Nataraja with the actual icon of Nataraja. I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to who Dr. Devika is. Dr. V.R. Devika is the founder and managing trustee of the Asima Trust, which is a non-profit organization for linking the traditional performing arts and education and Mahatma Gandhi and education. Her PhD thesis is on Gandhian communication for transformation, philosophical issues and dimensions, and we hope she'll come back and talk to us about that sometime, which is a subject that's close to our heart. She did the PhD from the University of Madras, and the nicest thing about it is she spins on the box chakra. She weaves tales with that thread that she spins on the chakra, and she takes us through a whole gamut of the Vedic heritage of arts, culture. She specifically focuses on folk arts and culture, and much of it is dying, and it is like people like Devika who are trying to revive it, who are trying to put a spotlight on it so that we don't forget our roots and our cultural heritage. She has, I mean, she's done so many things. I just can't. But just because of Rama, I'm saying she's from PSBB, the school, and she has.
No. PS Senior Secondary School.
No, but you taught in PSBB.
No, I taught in PS Senior Secondary School.
Senior Secondary. Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
But I was very close to Mrs. YGP. So I was very familiar in PSBB.
And one more aspect of Devika is that she's a trained dancer with the Dhananjayans, and she continues her association with them through various ways. She's connected to Kalakshetra. She's connected to all the dance gurus in Madras and in Chennai. I'm sorry, I'm saying Madras, but it's interesting that we are having her here today to talk to us about the Gandhi, the Nataraja, and the aspects of Nataraja. And the nicest thing is, Nataraja is introducing her. Padmini Natarajan.
Padmini Natarajan, yeah.
So
very nice.
On to Devika. God bless you, and we look forward to your.
Thank you very much, Padmini. When I became a school teacher, Mr. Muttaiya's two daughters were my students. And that is how I got to know him. She was in LKG. They were my students in LKG. And that's how I knew him, and really such a fantastic relationship I had till he died. Nataraja is such a popular, such a well-known aspect of India, and the world over. I was always very intrigued, very interested in Nataraja. and kept learning more and more things about Nataraja. And first thing, I'm going to be using a PPT where I'll have many visuals and things like that. But what happened was, see, I have been traveling the world for conferences and lectures. Once I was in Taiwan, and Taiwan conference was a very, very boring conference. It was a conference organized by the government, and I was like, very bored with that formality. At the end of the conference, when there was a banquet, huge banquet, I asked the South African guy to give some rhythm just to break the monotony. And I went like a Bharatanatyam dancer. I said, I'd like to say thank you with in the Bharatanatyam mode. And I did it and made everybody dance. And two guys came and saw me after that while I was having dinner. This was from Korea, South Korea. And they told me, ma'am, we are having a conference in November on imagination is the national competitiveness. So can you do this in our conference? They asked me. I said, do this? This is too trivial. Why do this? I'll give you a proper, nice paper. So I came back and they sent me an invitation and I worked on Nataraja as a imagination gone beyond, really gone beyond limits. So Shiva, the very word Shiva itself is beyond beatitude. And Shiva Nataraja, Adavallan as he was called in Tamil, is something even beyond. So there is a thing that wherever there is Nataraja, there is Chidambaram for people. You know, wherever there is Nataraja, there is Chidambaram. What is Chidambaram? It's the mind, which is the Chit Ambaram, the space, Chidambaram. It's such an incredible concept that has been concretized, ideated into a figure. So when I came back and I met one Dr. Nirupama Raghavan, my friend Uma Narayanan, who runs SOS Children's Village, she told me that her classmate Nirupama Raghavan had retired as the director of the Nehru Planetarium in New Delhi, and she was settling down after retirement in Chennai. And she said she's got a lot of stories between myth and astronomy. So I was very keen on meeting her and I arranged lectures for her in Prakriti Foundation. And I started working with her. We had just got the land for Dakshina Chitra. There was nothing there in 1991 and just the land that was there. So Nirupama and I would go and lie down on our back because we were away from the city lights, and we would look at the sky and she would tell me stories about the different constellations and all that. So and then we went to Kailasanadar temple and to Tanjavur, and she told me various aspects of astronomy and mythology, and I thought it would be interesting to share this in that conference, and it became uh, quite a hit in that conference. And so I am adding, subtracting. Each presentation gives me new insights and I learn more. And I have given quite a few of these presentations. So thank you for inviting me, Rama. I'm going to start my PPT now. Acha, just a minute. Where is the slideshow? Yeah. Okay. Can you all see? Can you see the screen?
Yes, Devika.
Okay,
very
fine.
clear.
So what we are looking at is a Nataraja in Koneri Rajapuram. You know, this Nataraja was commissioned by a queen um, who built a room around it, you know, and it's amazing that to get this Nataraja out of that sanctum, you have to break that whole room. You know, it's one of the biggest and the most beautiful Natarajas that is there. So let's pray to Nataraja that our sharing today will be useful for all of us. Okay. So stars and planets have been an all-absorbing cultural resource as well as time-keeping tools since ancient times. We all know that, don't we? And we know that we all have Rao Kalam. We have we're constantly looking at the planets and stars to guide us into what we want to do in our daily life. Many of us do that. How many of you know how you got your birth star? Padmini?
We are
Padmini?
muted, so I don't think anyone will answer.
Yeah. Who
So
is this? Is this
that's
Rama?
Rama. That's Rama.
Rama,
Yes.
Rama, do you know your birth star?
Yes, I do.
Yes, tell me your birth
I'm
star.
Ashwini. I'm Ashwini.
Ashwini, how did you get that star, Rama?
Frankly, I wouldn't know. I only know that was a ruling
That was
star.
a star told by the
time.
Yeah,
It is the time
Padmini.
that you are born.
Yeah.
It's
The time you were born.
Yes.
the day, the tithi, and everything is calculated according to the exact time when you are born. In
Yeah.
fact, yeah.
Panchangam is needed.
Yeah.
But how do they know what to calculate?
There is a progression of stars.
Yeah, but how do they know where that when Chandra was born, sorry, Rama was born, it was Ashwini Nakshatra? How
On
did
that
they know?
day, the moon was in the.
Yeah. So look at my hand. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell a story before we begin this thing. There was a very, very handsome king. He had 27 wives. I think most of you know this story. He had 27 wives and he would spend time with the different wives. The 26 of them got very upset and went and either whether it is 26 or 28, they went and complained to their father, Daksha. Daksha means capable, skillful. You know, Daksha was the king of the Himalayas, and all these girls were the daughters of Daksha. And Daksha said, "Oh, is that what he is doing? I will curse him to become invisible." So the king became invisible. The husband became invisible. Everybody was very upset. They said, no, this is not what we asked. Bring him back, bring him back. We want to see his handsome face. So Daksha said, look, I can't take back my curse. I can only amend it. So every day his face will be seen a little by little. And on the 14th day, you will see his full face. And 15th day onwards, he will start losing his face to remind him of my curse. For 2 nights, you will not see him at all. So this, we know who we are talking about, don't we? We're talking about the moon.
The moon.
We're talking about the moon. Now, the star that he was close to and spending more time,
Was Rohini.
the wife was Rohini. So how do we know this Rohini? Modern astronomy tells us that the star Rohini, which is Aldebaran in the star constellation Taurus, is the brightest star. It is many million light years closer to the Earth than the other stars. So when the moon is going around the Earth for 27 and a half quarter days, spending time below the different star constellations. So when Rama was born, moon was passing under Ashwini constellation, that is there up there. So the place Rama was born in, the moon and the Ashwini constellation were in one line. So when he passed under Rohini, under Taurus, Aldebaran, the moon took a little longer and was closer to Rohini. How did they know to make a story like this? Modern astronomy through telescope tells us that this star Aldebaran is many million light years closer to us than the other stars. How did they know to make a story like this? There are abounding stories like this, similar stories. So I have collected a lot of those kind of stories with Nirupama. So this is how we know to okay, and they know that first when the baby is born, they will ask, where is the moon? Chandran எங்க இருக்கா அப்படின்னு பாப்பாங்க. So Chandran இங்க இருந்தா அதுதான் லக்னம், the lagnam of the child's birth. Then they will look at all the other stars that are looking at this particular star. Planets and நவகிரகம் இருக்குல்ல, நமக்கு இந்த நவகிரகத்துக்கு நிறைய கேரக்டர்ஸ் கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. So they will make a grid. How is this Jupiter? If Jupiter is seeing 1/8 to this Ashwini, and Mercury is seeing 1/3 of its face to Ashwini, and something else is showing 1/5 of its face. So they will, like a chemical composition, they will calculate idoda 1/5, adoda 1/8, adoda 1/6, எல்லாம் சேர்த்துட்டு they will look at this character of this child. And as the planets move, dasha திரும்பும் போது things change. Things can change. So my blood that I'm having in my blood, when I was born, moon was passing under Jeshta. So they even knew that it was passing under the 4th phase of the Jeshta. So நாலாவது பாதத்துல இருக்கு, 4th phase. That means 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. In the 4th phaseல இப்படி இருந்தால் அதை எப்படி எல்லாம் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கு மற்ற planets. And that is how they have calculated my horoscope and predicted that. So what it is scientific, isn't it? What it is scientific, but the interpretation is creative, imagination. How do we know this planet character is that? How, these are creative, those are imagination, those are what is very interesting to get to know, isn't it? To get to know, because, and that also depends on intuition of an astrologer. Lot of intuition also goes into it. So here there is art, there is imagination, there is storytelling, there is science all together. So why am I talking all this in a Nataraja story? You must be intrigued. Let's go further. Now today is Mrigashirsha Nakshatra. Okay, Mrigashirsha is the constellation in the Orion constellation. On Arudra day, Arudra Darshanam day, the Orion constellation, see, this is the Orion constellation. There is this star called, can you see? This star is Arudra. Arudra is Betelgeuse according to the Greek. Okay, this star and the moon is in one line. Arudra Nakshatra is Shiva's Nakshatra. Shiva's star. So moon and this star are in one line. That Lisbeth Pankaja was able to make a picture like this is amazing. A photograph that she took on Arudra Darshanam day, that the moon and Arudra are in one line. Okay, so Shiva gets the star. It is also, Mrigashirsha is also part of this constellation. Today is Mrigashirsha actually. So we have a concept for Shiva as somebody beyond any comprehension, a shaft of light that goes beyond the end and the beginning. So it's almost like the whole universe represented as a shaft of light, and that solidifies into a linga. And we know the story of Brahma becoming a swan and trying to go up to find the end of this flame, and Vishnu becoming a boar and going down into the earth to get to know the beginning of this shaft of light. So linga is a solidified idea of a never ending shaft of light that is beyond our comprehension, beyond our comprehension and beyond any learning that can happen. So it's such a philosophical idea, imagination, that has been ideated into a linga here, and then we have when Shiva, who is on Kailasa, turns to the south, he becomes the first teacher, Dakshinamurti. He looking south, and under the tree, he gives lessons to everybody. So he becomes the first teacher, Shiva. And so there are many forms of Shiva. Linga is also a form of Shiva, and Dakshinamurti is also a form of Shiva. And the first students, Sanatana, Sananda, Sanata Kumara, those are the first four disciples of Shiva. And he's also the person who is both a female and a male. He's also the dancer. He's the cosmic dancer. Why did they call him cosmic dancer? And they called him Adavallan. They called him the dancer in the sky, Sabhanayaka, they called him. So look at this exquisite ivory figure, with all the weapons that he has and the Apasmara Purusha. I'll come to all this as I go on. So when you're looking at this Nataraja figure, icon, this is in the Madras Museum. You look at this and so many philosophical things have been told to us about Nataraja, the Panchakritya and all that. But just look at this physical form, one of the most beautiful, the most replicated form after Ganesha is Nataraja, But Ganesha, there are very many artistic liberties taken. Even in Nataraja, there are artistic liberties taken, but then the wire frame has to remain the same. So look at this. The hair is horizontal. The hair is horizontal. When can the hair be horizontal? Who would like to unmute and give me the answer?
When you're dancing.
When you're dancing, but exactly when can it become horizontal?
When you're shaking your head and...
Yeah, you're coming very near, Padmini. Give me, this is a physics question.
Anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity, okay, that is one. But when can it be horizontal?
When you're whirling around.
When you're whirling, when you're spinning, the hair can become horizontal. Only then it can become horizontal. So by keeping the hair horizontal, this artist is telling us, and the waistcloth flying, the snake dancing, this artist is indicating that this icon is not a static pose. It's a dynamic pose. It's a moment in a movement. It's a moment in a movement. It can't be a static pose. It's a moment in a movement. It's because the hair is horizontal, we know that this artist is telling us that this is not a static pose. It's a movement. It's a spinning movement. He is, according to Padma Subramaniam, this is Bhujangatrasita Karana, and he's doing the Karana. He's moving his hand and then going. The snake is troubling him. That is why it is called Bhujangatrasita Karana. She says but this pose is called Ananda Tandava pose by everybody. People call it Ananda Tandava pose. And several kinds of representations have been given. This is S. Rajam, the great musician, who has created this Nataraja. But just look at the way he has studied the different hands, the things around the Nataraja. And this bronze of Nataraja, the cosmic dancer, is one of the most widely known images of Indian art. This form of Nataraja is restricted both in geography and time. It is found only in South India and attained a canonical form in the 11th century. So it's geographically bound in Tanjore, in Chidambaram. Tanjore sculptors began to make this, bronze sculptors began to make this Nataraja. So it is in Tamil country. It is completely geographically, it's the Tamil country's contribution to the world of art. Whereas Buddha's head is from the north and Nataraja from here, from the south. And see, when you look at the other Nataraja, see this Nataraja and this one, you can see that the artist has taken artistical liberties to create um, um, the details, but the wire frame remains the same. The wire frame, the pose remains the same, but details are different. Let's see some more. Look at this one. Look at the hair. Look at that Prabhavali and the beautiful way the pose is shown. These are, remember, these are lost wax method. They first make the icon with wax, beeswax. They collect beeswax from the tree and boil it, cool it. When it is still warm, create the icon and create a mold around it, a clay mold, and then pour panchaloha, boiling panchaloha on that. And the wax goes down from the bottom, and this goes and occupies that, the metal, the 5 metal, boiling metal occupies this place. And when it is cool, they break the mold and then chisel details. But just look at this beauty. Can you even imagine such beautiful things created? And look at this one. The flaming circle, they say, represents the circle of creation and destruction called samsara, the earthly round of birth and death, or Maya, the illusory world. Creation is symbolized by the drum in the rear right hand, and protection by the front right abhaya in the right, and then destruction by the fire in the rear left arm. This is in Geneva. I think you must have all heard about CERN, the center which is working at the trying to find the origin of the earth. And they have created a huge collider where they are looking at how collision has given birth to world. And when Karan Singh was the chairman of ICCR, he gifted this icon of Nataraja to that center, and this is how they have shown it there in Geneva, in Switzerland. So let me look at this story, Gangadhara. You all know Gangadhara, story of Gangadhara, don't you? How does that happen? You all know. Look at this beautiful Gangadhara on the second stage in Tanjore temple, Brihadishwara temple. I took this with my cell phone, up there. It's on the second rung, up high, very high. But look at that beauty of it. The Ganga is coming into his head, and the kind of headgear that you see for Nataraja represented in South India is said to be Himalayas. That head itself is said to represent Himalaya, and in that there are details about the Himalayas, and the river is coming into his head. And when you look at the detail, you see stars in the hair, and Ganga as manifested as a woman here. And just look at that smile. Look at that smile. And look at all these stars there and the flames. So the flames are going out there, and they are said to represent the ever expanding universe. The ever expanding universe, which is made of fireballs, you know. And when Gangadhara story, we come to look at the physical of that. So you look at Kailasa and look at the furrow there, and then you look at Ganga as she comes out of in the Himalayas. You know, as a trickle she starts, then she becomes a major river. You know, um, then you look at this figure. Who can tell me what this is? Of course, you all know it. Padmini? Yeah.
Milky.
Rama?
Maybe it's. Are you showing us the Milky Way?
I am showing you the Milky Way. Yeah. This is Milky Way. And Milky Way is called Akasha Ganga by us.
Yes.
You know, in India, it's called Akasha Ganga. Let's look at some more images of the Milky Way. Look at this image of Milky Way. It's one arm of the Milky Way that is visible on the earth. Look at that. You know, you can imagine that it is a river flowing in the sky. And then you see this. Look at this fantastic image of the Milky Way. This is over Kailasa mountain, Mount Kailasa, and the Milky Way there. Did somebody see this image and create this story? You know, of Gangadhara, the Ganga coming down from the heaven onto the Himalayas, the head of onto the head of Shiva.
Is it Bhagirath Tapam?
Bhagirath's tapas.
Tapam, yes.
Yeah. So, but you know the story, don't you? Everybody knows the story. I don't have to tell, isn't it? I tell stories, story of Bhagiratha to people who don't know. I'm sure all of you know. And then she becomes the Sakshi. You know, Parvati is the Sakshi that is looking, and the bull is always there. We'll come to the bull later, the Nandi. And Bhagiratha is said to have led Ganga in his chariot. You know, he crosses, he takes, where were the ashes of his ancestors? Near Varanasi. So he makes her go around Varanasi and then leads her to Sagara. Sagara was the grandfather, ancestor of Bhagiratha.
Yeah.
Sagara was the one who had all those armies that was looking for the lost horse. And Sagara is the island where people go and do puja in Bay of Bengal, near Calcutta. You know, Lakshmi Bhattacharya can tell us that, isn't it? There is a Sagara island and they go and do Ganga puja there. So Ganga goes and joins the Bay of Bengal. She is said to have been led by Bhagiratha in his chariot, and she is said to have followed him into Bay of Bengal. That is Sagara. She goes and joins Sagara there, you know. Now look at this Kailasanatha temple in Kanchipuram. This was one of the first structural temples in South India, in Tamil country. And look at this beautiful Gangadhara. That's such a small temple of Kailasanatha has 3 big Gangadharas. Why 3 big Gangadharas is a question mark. Huge Gangadhara statues. Look at the way the Ganga is coming into the head of Shiva, and Shiva is doing Vismaya Hatsta. You know, wow, he says. Wow. You know, that Vismaya Hasta in his hand. So fantastic. And she, Parvati, is the Sakshi. Let's look at a long shot of the same. So there he is. And Nirupama Raghavan believes that each one of these sculptures have Orayana as the wireframe. There is an elephant at the bottom. An elephant is kept in the bottom. Elephant normally stands for clouds. Maruta, the clouds. And by keeping this statue, the sculpture above the elephant, the artist is telling us that this is happening over the clouds, with the elephant there. So let's travel to the origin of Ganga. Oh, what happened?
And this one, the last of the 4 sacred sources of the Ganges, is the busiest and most important temple of them all. This is Gangotri, the place where Hindus believe the Ganges first appeared on earth. As a goddess, Ganga originally watered the gardens of heaven. But her purifying powers were needed on earth to cleanse the ashes of the dead. Ganga agreed to come to the aid of humankind. But the impact of her descent would have destroyed the earth. So another god, Shiva, intervened. At Gangotri, he caught the falling river in his hair, cushioning her arrival and channeling the flow into thousands of lesser streams. The spectacular waterfall here is a very earthly reminder of that tumultuous descent. But even Gangotri can't be the true source either. The river here is already wide and powerful, fed by one of the Himalayas' largest glaciers higher up the valley. Just a few hundred years ago, that same glacier filled this valley, reaching right down to the village. Now, in the face of rising temperatures, it's retreated over 20 kilometers. Only the most determined make the final journey up valley to the farthest extremity of the river. Their destination is Gaumukh, the cow's mouth, an ice cave from which flows a milky stream. This cold and lonely place is considered by many to be the source of the Ganges. For most pilgrims, it's a fleeting visit, just time for a few prayers and a ritual bath in the frigid waters. Yet even here, it's faith rather than geography that is defining the source. Higher still, up above the glacier, there is more running water. If the source of a river is the point farthest from the sea, then it's here, in the meadows at Tapovan, that the spiritual and geographic origins of the Ganges finally come together. Surrounded and protected by the mountain gods, nowhere could be more fitting as the birthplace of India's holiest river.
So I put this in because, we hear stories and the physical also kind of corresponds to that. So why am I telling this story is again a question, isn't it? Look at this, a big Gangadhara in the Kailasanatha temple in Kanchipuram. In this Gangadhara also you have the Vismaya Mudra and the river coming in like that into the hair. And what is interesting here is that there is a dog here. There's a dog up there. Can you see it? This is a dog. What is a dog doing here? It's a question, What is a dog doing here? Is a question. So Nirupama Raghavan worked on this. We both worked on how come there is a dog there. So we look at cosmic dance of Shiva. Shiva is dancing in the sky. Now come to the Orion constellation. This is the Orion constellation. This is Betelgeuse, which is Arudra Nakshatra. And it has one star there, one star here, and three stars, which are the belt. And then there are three stars here, one there and one there. There is a bright thing here, which is the Orion nebula. A nebula is formed when there is a supernova, and the remnant of that supernova, which has burst on itself, is the nebula. This is the Orion nebula. And the Greeks called it the hunter. The Orion is called the hunter by the Greeks, and we call it Kalpurush. Orion is often referred to as the hunter, a prominent constellation located on the celestial equator and is visible throughout the world. It's one of the largest, most conspicuous, and most recognizable in the night sky. Its name refers to Orion, a hunter in Greek mythology. We call it Mrigashira. This is Betelgeuse, which is the red star Arudra. And this is the remnant of the supernova, Orion supernova, nebula. And this is the, again, Orion. This is how they drew Orion, the Greeks. And inside the nebula, you can see the look at this map now. This is the Orion. In front of the Orion is Taurus with the Rohini, Aldebaran Rohini star in it. The Taurus always comes up before Orion. Okay, Orion is considered Shiva. Taurus is bull. And Taurus always comes up before the Orion. And right here you have a Canis. You know what Canis means? Dog. Canis means dog. So in this map, you see there is an Aldebaran bull, there is a dog here, and then we'll come to some more ideas. Dr. Nirupama Raghavan drew with the cosmic software the figure of Nataraja on Orion constellation. She felt that the Orion constellation is the wireframe for Nataraja. Because it's the cosmic dance in the sky, and Orion comes up during the Arudra Darshana, and when they see this star, it is Arudra Darshana is celebrated. See the Orion and the Nataraja figure. And it's also as, the subatomic particles dancing, as Capra said. It's only in South India that we have this Ananda Tandava pose. Nataraja is everywhere else also. When Kulatunga went Gangaikonda Chola, went to the north and won over the Pala dynasty, he brought back this figure, Nataraja, as a trophy. But here you don't have that kind of Ananda Tandava, and you don't have the lifted figure here. You know, the dancing idea is there everywhere but it's the South India, in South India, that they realize that it is the cosmic dance up there and related it to Orion. Chinese, in 1054 AD, there was a supernova that became visible in on 4th of July, 1054 AD. So the Chinese records have recorded it, and then they saw it for 23 days. They saw a bright sky star in the sky. American Indians had made maps. How do Indians react to these ideas that they see in the sky? They will either create a temple, or they will create a festival, or they will build something else. So it's always something very religious that they will observe when something they see in the sky. So Shiva appears as Bhikshatana, the mendicant. You know how that story of the Ananda Tandava happened, that there was this um, uh, the rishis in cedar forest, Darikavana. Darukavana is cedar forest, not Tillai forest. Darukavanathile, all these rishis who became very arrogant, and they were doing this rituals, and they were going to win over Indraloka, and Shiva came as a Bhikshatana, and Vishnu came as Mohini, and that got them disturbed, and they threw, how Ananda Tandava happened. The story is told. I'm not going to go into elaborations of that. But this thing was phone has been ringing. This cave painting was made in Guam. So there is this Orion, and there is the crab supernova that happened in just above the Orion in Taurus. This is Taurus with the star Rohini, and then there is a fourth quarter moon, waning moon, and this is the celestial equator, or the Milky Way. So the Milky Way going over Orion. So you can see, there are different layers, and when you see from the Earth, you will see them as the Milky Way coming over the Orion, and this big supernova that has happened, the crab supernova that became visible in July 1054 AD. What did the people in Chidambaram do when they saw this happening? They decided to celebrate a second Brahmotsavam in Chidambaram in July. Adi Tirumanchanam started in that July 1054 AD. They began. They must have got together and wondered what is happening in the sky. And according to inscriptions, we know that it started in the 11th century. So Native Americans have seen, I'm not going to go into of this. And then, when children ask me, how can a god dance on the body of a man? They ask me, even if he is a Rakshasa, how can, so, we have been told that the Apasmara Purusha is the embodiment of ignorance and arrogance. And when the rishis threw him at him, he put him down and he started dancing on the back of this. But, let's look at this Orion. Below Orion, there is a small constellation called Lepus. Lepus means rabbit. Okay. What do we call Apasmara Purusha in Tamil? Muyalakan, Lepus means rabbit. So this Orayan on top of the Lepus constellation, you can only imagine. There is bull in front, Taurus. There is this uh, Betelgeuse and Arudra, and then there is Lepus, which is rabbit below. So he's Muyalakan. So what kind of imagination would have brought this Nataraja figure to fruition is something that we have to be really, really amazed at. So when you see the Nataraja figure and when you see the bull in front of Nataraja, it is always facing Nataraja, and the face is a little turned. So when you look at the Taurus, the figure is like that, the face is a little turned. So the Nataraja circumambulating the town on his chariot is performed under the nakshatra Mrigashirsha. So Mrigashirsha is in the Orayan. This Sanskrit name means deer's head. It is described as 3 stars in the shape of the head of a deer. In the sacred geography of Osiris Sahu Orayan in Egypt, it would be marked as the 3 small pyramids built by the pharaohs of the 5th dynasty at Abu Sir. These represents Orion's head according to the authors of the Orion mystery. Mrigashirsha is also mentioned in the ancient Hindu texts as the birth star of the Purushamriga, the Indian Sphinx. Do we have Purushamriga here? Of course. In the Shiva Nataraja temple, there are a pair of sphinxes are guarding the entrance. As we enter the main shrine within the complex, through the east entrance, we descend 21 steps and that lead into the heart of the temple. They are called Purushamriga. Their lion bodies are sitting in an upright, watchful position. Their human faces surrounded by a full mane. They are part of the ritual practice of the temple. People burn lamps for them. They face inwards towards the shrine of Nataraja, and right in front of them, carved in the ceiling, is a sculpted zodiac. So when you go next to the Chidambaram temple, look for this, the Sphinx in the eastern Gopuram, And in several places you will see Sphinx represented. Not in the same way as in Egypt, but we also have this Mrigashira, Purushamriga. And of course, Bhikshatana, I told you that story. So I took this picture from Tanjavur temple. In Tanjavur temple, you have Shiva Nataraja and Vyagrapada, who is the patron saint of martial arts, and Patanjali, who is the patron saint of yoga. So 3 physical disciplines in one frame. The martial art, dance, and yoga. All 3 connected together in one frame. So, Brahmotsavam of Ani Tirmanjanam, which is related to the lunar asterism of Uttara Nakshatra around June, July, seems to have begun in the mid-11th century, I learned from the inscriptions. Okay. By using astronomical software, Dr. Nirupama Raghavan could ascertain that in 1054 AD, the moon would have been full in Uttara Nakshatra on 11th July. This is uncannily close to the date the Chinese astronomers recorded the crab supernova explosion of 4th July. Can you imagine? Can you even imagine? That they have observed something in the sky and they have decided to commemorate it with a new Brahmotsavam. So there is something called the second appearance of Orayan. The story is that Vishnu is reclining on the serpent, Adishesha, and suddenly Adishesha finds Vishnu to be a little heavier. So he asks him, how come you are very heavy today? He asks Vishnu. And Vishnu says, I'm thinking of the dance of Shiva, the great dance of Shiva Nataraja, and my heart is so full that I think I'm heavier. So Adishesha asks him, the Shesha asks him, when will I see? I want to see also. So Vishnu requests Shiva to come and dance again. So the second appearance happens. That is the Ananda Tandava that happened is in the cedar forest, which is in the heavens, is one feeling. The other is that it is above the Orissa area, cedar forest, Darikavana. So he says, I'll come in Tillai. In Tillai Vanam, I will come and I will dance. So Adishesha takes the birth of Patanjali and waits for Shiva to come. And Vyagrapada waits for Shiva to come and dance again. Okay, so right, those living at this latitude have been sufficiently inspired to reflect the constellation on the ground in icon and architecture. Isn't that amazing? That in Tillai, it is said to be the end of the dance. Ananda Tandava that began in Dwarakavana ends in Tillai forest, in Tillai Vanam. So in Tillai Vanam, the Moolavar according to Lisbeth Pankaja, the Moolavar in the Nataraja temple in Chidambaram does not have horizontal hair. He does not have horizontal hair. This is Shanti Kurtin. It's the end of the dance. So the hair has become vertical here. It's vertical hair here. So Natanam in Natanam Adinar Raga Vasanta Gopal Krishna Bharatis, there is a verse that says, Vadakaiyilayil munnal maamuni karul seidapadi tavaramal tilleyil padiyil vandu தை மாசத்தில் குரு பூசத்தில் பகல் நேரத்தில் நடனம் ஆடினார் அப்படின்னு ஒரு verse வரும். வடகையிலையில் முன்னால் மாமொழி அருள் செய்தபடி தவறாமல் தில்லையில் பதியில் வந்து தை மாசத்தில் குரு பூசத்தில் நடனம் ஆடினார் is what he says. So it is the second coming of this dance. I have a dance, but I think we are going too much. I won't play that. So look at this, another picture of the same idea on the Orion constellation, but with the Apasmara Purusha represented here also. Look at this. Kalari Murti in Kodumbalur. Kodumbalur has this fantastically beautiful Kalari Murti. And what is Kalari Murti? Someone who destroys time. Kala is time. He destroys time and gives grace. So there's so much connection with science, with scientific observations, and with mythology, with imagination, and with storytelling, with ritualistic, theatrical way of commemorating this, and in architecture, and in beauty. All these are combined to celebrate the earth, the world that we are living in, the cosmos that we are living in. So when we do this namaskaram in Bharatanatyam, I always tell them, this is the axis. When you are doing Takkadimni, you have created a circle around you, and this circle in consecutive circles connects you to the whole universe. We are just a speck in this wondrous universe that have been granted to us, and we are the continuing particles of this great flow of imagination and scientific observation and things that take place. Thank you very much. I am willing to answer questions. There are so much more I have, But are you all willing to sing with me? Why don't we sing the Nirvana Shatakam, everybody?
Sure, sure.
Just give me a minute. I will play the song also for all of us to sing with. Okay. I'll just stop this share and come back to you. Come back on this. Okay.
So we may need the words.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you that. Just a second. Give me a second.
After
Wait,
after program.
எங்க போச்சு அது? My God. Where did it go? Where did it go? I had kept it down. Okay. I'm playing this now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Um, I mean, one can go on and on and on and on, you know. There's so many connections, so many connections. And, I change according to the age of the people, whether I'm talking to very little children or college kids or elderly like you know, who have a background in all this. Any comments, any questions?
Devika,
Yeah.
what is the concept of the pancha, the
Panchakritya.
the five different ambarams which he dances? You know, like Chidambaram is one, and then there is
Yeah, the five elements. The five elements.
the stages, the five
yeah.
different stages that he dances.
Five elements, water, earth, fire, space, and air. All these are represented in five different temples, and each, like Tiruvannamalai is fire, Kanchipuram is earth, and Kalahasti is air, and Chidambaram is space. Ekambareshwarar is, and in Tanjavur, what is that? Jambukeshwar is the water.
Water.
Yeah. So in five different spaces. So because it's cosmic, Shiva is cosmic. All these elements are represented by Shiva. You know, they are forms that are given to Shiva, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes, Mr.
In,
Murthy. You have to unmute yourself, Mr. Murthy.
in Shiva Puranam, all these things are there. What all?
Yes, Shiva Puranam gives so much. I tell you, I had written down many things from Shiva Puranam. I had one Dikshitar who gave me a lesson, lesson on Shiva Puranam, which tells you a way. But you know, we are very good in couching our scientific observations in myth making. You know, so we have to sort out all this imaginative myth making and look at the source of the scientific observation. So it's couched in all this. It's packaged with such fantastic myth making and imagination. You have to look for it. And the teacher that I am, I look for those. You know,
Those days, what happened when
yeah.
they wrote about these things, Shiva Puranam or so, at the
Yeah.
time we didn't have the printing machine or anything
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. So best way to remember anything is the story form. And only
Always.
thing in the story form, we miss the essence, what is he said.
Yeah. See, do we have time for one more story? No.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
You know, the story of Vishwamitra and Trishanku. You know the story, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Trishanku is, according to Nirupama Raghavan, is the Southern Cross constellation. You know, Trishanku is always in the horizon for us in India. It is not seen in the northern hemisphere so much. Okay, so the Saptarshi Mandala is the seven sages led by. So what is Saptarshi Mandala? Ursa Major, the big dip. Okay, and you know the story of how Vishwamitra told Trishanku when Trishanku started ascending, the Saptarshis said, no, go down. He started coming down. But Vishwamitra said, up. So he started going up. They said, down. He started coming down. So Vishwamitra said, don't worry. I will create a new heaven for you in the Patala. Down and Patala Lokatla, I will create a new heaven for you. So I am traveling in North America. Okay, I was being driven. you know, in the northern part of America, the stars are much, much bigger when than here for us, isn't it? Because it's curving there. So going in the northern American state, driving down, I see this huge big dip, Saptarshi Mandala. Fantastic, you know, right above there. So I was wondering, my God, look at this. And then 2 years later, I was in South Africa. I was in Cape Town. And this lady who came to pick me up from the airport was a friend's friend. I had not met her before. I was going to stay with her. She said on the way, she said, Devika, if you don't mind, I'm passing through a friend's house and it's her birthday today. I want to surprise her by walking in. I said, I made sure that she's at home. I said, sure. Okay. So as I walked, I said, I'll sit in the car, you go and wish her. But they both came out and said, please come. Please come, I will, you know. And so I went in and there were 5th generation Indians who have never come to India before.
Oh.
Okay. And India is only in their imagination. Their ancestors came to South Africa as indentured labor. Now these are all successful people, and there were 5 couples there. And one lady's name was Ashokalata. Her name was Ashokalata. I said, wow, what a fantastic name. You conjured the Ashoka tree under which Sita sat with Shoka, and Lata is such tenderness, and Ashoka Lata is such a beautiful blend of strength and tenderness. You know, I was telling her. Then she didn't know the meaning of her name. So somebody else asked me, my name is this, do you know the meaning? And I started giving stories to each of those names. So one, Dr. Prakash, who was Prakash, you know, I told him you are a Prakasha. Pra is with Prakasha. You are the lit up Akasha, but you're giving brightness and all. So he said, I'm going to have a party on Saturday. Will you come and tell more stories and tell more names? I said, sure. So Cape Town, we park on top of the cliff, and the house is built into the cliff up to the water. Okay? And there is a boat tied to the jetty. So we walked down, and by the boat, they made a fire there, bonfire, and gave me a microphone and asked me to tell the story. I look up in the sky and my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped. The Southern Cross is up there in the sky there. You know, you can't see it in Northern Hemisphere. For us, it is in the horizon. You can't see Southern Cross in the Northern Hemisphere. How did they know to make a story like this? My jaw just dropped, you know. And I said, oh my God. So I said, I'll tell you, I'll start with the story of Vishwamitra and Trishanko, you know. So it's so amazing that they could make stories like this. I think Mr. Murthy wanted to say something, no? Mr. Murthy?
Yeah, you see about this Chidambara Rahasyam.
Yeah.
What exactly does it mean? You know, when we go to the temple there,
yeah.
You face the deity.
Yes.
On the left-hand side, they show that Vilva Malai, and they say Chidambara Rahasyam. When you ask those people, they are not giving satisfactory answers. What
it's
exactly?
It's very simple. Rahasya is because there is nothing there. It's space. That temple is Shiva for space. Okay. And so the golden leaves that you see put there is for empty space. That is ideated in the Nataraja form, this side. So Nataraja becomes the Utsava Murti to the space, which is the Rahasya. There is nothing there. That is why it is Rahasya.
Actually, there is only curtain is there.
They just put the curtain. There is only the curtain, the golden bilva leaves they put as a mala there. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's just the space, and that is the Rahasya there.
And even the left leg that is lifted up,
Yeah.
that is also supposed to denote that space, the
Yeah,
space
that
that he
is,
occupies.
he has lifted that space, and it's actually directly in the Orion, it is directly looking at the Sirius star. You know, the foot is directly looking.
The leg.
There are lots of more complications. Yeah, there are lots more complications that one can bring in this. Nirupama Raghavan spent many months with me telling me all this, and before she died, she gave me that drawing that she had made. She died of cancer some years ago. She gave me, and she said, "You go and tell stories to people about this." You know.
Lovely.
So,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have you written about this?
I have written in the Hindu. I have written in the Hindu. I've been giving talks in schools and colleges.
One
depending,
book.
I don't know. My book has been on Dr.
Please
Rangamashya.
write a book.
My biography of
Please
Dr.
write a book.
Rangamashya. I know, but I don't think I have enough knowledge for this. My next book will be on Dr. Muthulakshmi Reddy. That's my next passion, to make her well known, because there is a lot of things about her that I want to clear. That's what I'm working on now. I worked on English textbooks with my friend Hema Ramanathan. We did a English textbook series for class 1 to 8, and that was more intense than my PhD. 4 books for each class. It was really, really fantastic. More intense than my PhD. Now I'm working on Muthulakshmi Reddy. These Nataraja, I still have to learn a lot. There's so much more to explore. This is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, because Nataraja itself is there is no Adi or Anta.
Absolutely.
So it's very difficult to, you can, compartmentalize or compromise that, no?
Absolutely.
Or you can condense that also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
it's a vast subject, but
very, very vast.
Really, Devika ji, you have really explained beautifully this cosmic and Nataraja, and I'm really impressed with the Nirupama Raghavan's the picture of that, and how that he has been, the dots has been connected, and the dancing Nataraja comes alive in that one.
Absolutely.
And I'm really impressed about that. You even today you spin the charka, no?
Yes.
And that too box charka you do it. So that means you are an ardent Gandhian, looks like that.
I am a devotee of Gandhi.
Okay.
I am a devotee of Gandhi, and I feel Gandhi's, Gandhi is so misunderstood in India, and it's my mission to make people understand Gandhi, because he can be quoted against himself, because he constantly said, "Take my latest statement as the one I hold today. I am willing to change. I'm willing to, he always said, his life was an experiment.
Yeah.
So he was always willing to change if he got better information. So I must have done some 1,800 lectures on Gandhi. I have a PPT on Gandhi with videos.
Papers also on that.
I have written papers also. My PhD was on Gandhi.
Okay.
So I have written quite a bit on Gandhi. But now Muthulakshmi Reddy, that's now my current passion.
Okay. So
I have a big PPT on Muthulakshmi Reddy also. All India Women's Conference and Women's Indian Association had asked me to speak about it. If you want, I can do that also sometime later.
Oh, please do that.
Oh yes, we shall grab that offer.
I could see that you are very good, able to express yourself very well. And I'm just saying that thing. And the cogency is so, the flow is very beautiful, like Akash Ganga.
So sweet of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice. Thank you.
So shall I, Rama, I do that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please give the word of thanks, please.
I can come on that line.
Yeah, you are there.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You started beautifully about the Chandra Lagna, about the stars. You started with the, what you say, astrology, you took it. So I got a little bit interested. I want to say I'm also born in the Uttara Nakshatra, Nalaudu Pado. Adukulu Rama Vanda Ashwini Nakshatra. So she's Ashwini because she's the beginner, no? And
See, in the next few days, it will be Arudra. Today is Mrigashirsha. So, Inniki Mrigashira, Naliki Naliniki Varo, Arudra.
Tiruvadare. It's called Tiruvadare, and I always connect the Arudra as a Tiruvadare Kali. Because on that day, Kali Pannu ilaya Tiruvadare.
Yeah. So if you go out and see on in the sky, you will see Orion right above us. Yeah.
So Angana, what you say, Trishanku.
No. Trishanku is a completely different story.
Different, okay. And another thing you asked for the hair, no, the beautiful, no, when you spin, automatically everyone's hair just becomes tan straight. So that's one more thing I really liked about that. You said Nataraja is a contribution to the world from the south, and Buddha is the contribution for the north to the world. So that is another thing. And I know that the CERN there is doing some experiment about the God particles and all. There also they have given the Nataraja, no?
Yeah. Yes.
And which is there, and the headgear. That is also very nicely said, the Akash Ganga, how it comes down. And these are very interesting one, and which really opened my eyes, and is very informative, your messages and your talk, very informative. And I'm really impressed. Not only that, thanks to you a lot, and thanks to the people, those who have organized it, Rama and Mr. Raja, for all of them, and plus the audience, those who are sitting and listening to you and enchanted by your talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devika. And yes, we're going to take you up on your Gandhika presentation and about Muthulakshmi Reddy, about whatever else. Whenever you have time, remember, you have a whole
anything
fans
we're willing to listen.
Okay.
Yes.
You have a
Anytime you
captive
feel like it,
audience.
just ping me and we'll have one session.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
would
very
like
much.
you
Raja
to
sir, would you like to
please,
say something? Raja sir?
Yeah.
Shiva
Thank you very
Purana
much.
and
We
give from
look
that,
forward to
no,
your
the
coming
essence of
again.
that.
Yeah. Raja sir? Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, we look forward to your coming again. Dr.
Yes,
Devika,
thank you. Very much.
both
Thank you very much.
on Gandhiji and on further on this subject itself.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll go and have my coffee
Bless
now.
you.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. Nice hot piping coffee, please.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. God
Thank
bless
you.
you. God bless
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you, Chair.